I do think that the Milwaukee Brewers owe it to the fans, the loyal fans of this team for all these years to not only get to the postseason, but go further. I've said that the last couple of years. The worst thing they can do, is go in reverse. We don't want that to happen. We'll get to all that coming up next and talk about the bullpen as well here on Locked On Brewers.
You are Locked On Brewers, your daily Milwaukee Brewers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Boy, the Brewers have a dynamite bullpen. They look good in a lot of areas, some not so much. But like I said, the last thing the Brewers need to do for the fans is to go in reverse. How you doing, everybody? Chuck Freeman here on Locked On Brewers, part of Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's at FanDuel. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Good to have you along. Chuck Freeman here, Locked On Brewers. Heading into my third season doing Locked On Brewers. As you know me as a longtime sports talk show host here in the state of Wisconsin. I'm telling you, I love doing Locked On Brewers. Sitting here every day talking Brewers baseball with you. And it's been 6 months of kind of reflecting on last year, looking ahead. It was a very uneventful offseason for the Milwaukee Brewers. But here we are. We're on the doorstep of the start of the season. Now, I have a feeling the front office feels that the Brewers are good enough to win this division because nobody else in this division really has done anything. On the other hand, are they? I mean, we just take it for granted that we lose Willy Adames from shortstop role, terrific all-star, best player on this team last year, not named Jackson Chourio. Lose the best closer in baseball, Devin Williams, even though he's hurt for a couple of months. And the team is going to be just fine. Still win the division. It'd be incredible if they did. And I'm going to still count them to win the division. But it's not going to be easy. As I always say with the Milwaukee Brewers, they have to do a lot of things right. But what they can't do is go in reverse. And you know what's going to happen? If this team slides into 70-win season, which, honest to God, it's entirely possible. It could happen. I mean, last year, look how many guys had career years for these guys out of the bullpen. I mean, like Hudson and Koenig, just to name a few. Megill picks up the slack when Devin Williams goes on the injured list to start the season. They had so many guys step up on this team. Chourio delivered rookie of the year type numbers. All right, Terang stealing the bases at second base. They played near perfect baseball last year to win 93 games. And when I say near perfect, their margin of error is small, and they never hit that margin of error. They were so good. Not good enough to go to the postseason. The one thing they cannot do, though, I do not want to see them. They owe it to the fans to not go in reverse. But you know what? If this season doesn't turn out like we hope, who's to blame? Mark Attanasio? Pat Murphy going to be the fall guy? Who is it going to be? Matt Arnold? At the end of the day, it comes back to the owner, Mark Attanasio. He holds the keys to the kingdom. He holds the purse strings. This team did not spend it all in the offseason. They did not replace some vital parts. Well, they're hoping Megill is going to put up numbers like Devin Williams. And Devin Williams is the best closer in baseball. Megill, God bless him, he was great last year. And maybe he can at the age of 31. That remains to be seen. But the Brewers cannot go in reverse, and I'm taking it one step further. They got to get by the first round of the playoffs. I said this last year, too. It's been 5 years in a row now that the Brewers have been status quo, get to the postseason. 2019, losing to Washington. 2020, well, we're not going to count that, losing to the Dodgers on the 60-game COVID season. Just a train wreck of a season. They got to the postseason, but did it really matter when you only play 60 games? No. 2021, what was it, 95 wins, 96 wins? Great regular season. The year they got Adames, and they bow out to the Atlanta Braves. 22, they don't make it. 23, they lose in the wild card round. 24, they lose in the wild card round. Each of the last 2 seasons at home. Little did I know when I was walking out of Coors Field in 2018, covered that series in Colorado. It was a Sunday night. Well, the game was mid-afternoon on a Sunday, but by the time there was a drenching rain. I was walking out of Coors Field, and I'm thinking, man, the Brewers are onto something great here. This team could win the World's Championship. Well, they would lose to the Dodgers in the NLCS, and after that, couldn't get by the first round of the playoffs. Have not won a series since 2018. Honestly, when they won it in 2018, when they beat Colorado in that well, it wasn't the wild card round. It was the divisional series round. When they won that round, I thought, man, even though they lost to the Dodgers in 7 games in 2018, I still thought they would keep things going and maybe knock on the door and finally get to the World Series for the first time in 1982. It has not happened. They have not won a playoff series, and they bust out after putting up these pristine regular season records. But they have to. They cannot go in reverse. I think they owe it to the fans. The fans, I've said this, the Brewers fans are the greatest fans out there in any sport. You know why? Because this team hasn't won a World's Championship. They've been to 1 World Series. The owners have, and this goes back to Bud Selig, not paying Paul Molitor in 92. The owners of this team have not paid guys. Sure, they paid Christian Yelich. They played Ryan Braun. They had some foresight ahead on the Jackson Churiel deal. But really, when have they really all been all in and gone for it? 2011, they were. Okay, got the Game 6 against St. Louis, the NLCS. In 2018, getting Pistachios, some of the moves they made that year, they were all in as well. But they never built on it. They never built on what happened in 2018. And as a result, and if you're watching me on YouTube, you see that framed picture of when the Brewers beat, I believe that's the poster of when they beat the Angels. Yes, a pennant. Let me turn around here for a second. Yeah, that's when they beat the Angels. Yeah, that's when they beat the Angels in the 5-game series when they were in the American League in 1982. God, that poster's been sitting up there for so long. I forgot if that was when they beat the Orioles in 82 to clinch the American League East, or if that was when they beat the Angels. But they beat the Angels in 82, and then they lost to the Cardinals in the World Series. And yes, boys and girls, the Brewers were in the American League back then, and the Cardinals, the National League. They met in the World Series. And in 2011, all those years later, they met in the NLCS. Weird, I know, but the Brewers moved to the National League in the 90s. For what reason? I don't know, but we regress. So we need to stop talking about 1982, to stop talking about Easter Sunday of 1987. Yeah, what's going to happen when Easter comes up in a couple of weeks? We'll see the Swaim and the Rob Deere home runs of 1987. Oh, that was nice. Another team that got off the 20-3 start and failed to make the postseason. Now, there weren't as many teams allowed in playoffs back then, but still, 1987 did not make the postseason after a 20-3 start. I mean, who does that? The lovable losers, the Milwaukee Brewers. That's what they are. People call that the Chicago Cubs, but what are we? What have the Milwaukee Brewers really done for the fans who support this team, who come out? Attendance records, it seems like every other year. They support this team, and when Atanasio says, is it my job to win a World Series or provide an afternoon of fun for the family? We talked about this before. It's both of his, it's his job, because winning baseball, productive baseball, will make people happy. You want to make the fan base happy. Going out in 2002, when was it? 2003, when was it? I took my then 3-year-old kid to see Ben Sheets toss 18 strikeouts in a game. It was his first game. Yeah, that was a fun game. But the Brewers were terrible. I think that was 2002. But nonetheless, yeah, provide entertainment, family fun, but winning baseball. That's what everybody wants. That's why we're here. That's why we're talking. That's why you're tuned in to Locked On Brewers. We all want winning baseball. Sure, it's great to reflect back in 1982 and show me your 1987 Easter Sunday highlights with Swaim hitting the home run in the bullpen and Deere's 3-run blast that tied it. But they got to start making their move. And if they regressed, I'm telling you, if they regress, I will be on them all year. And some of you guys out there who think I'm negative on the Brewers sometimes, and I don't know where you get that, because I've been awfully positive for a team that hasn't won anything yet. But I'm telling you, if they go backwards, they can't afford a slow start. They got to get out of the gates. They can't do anything what the Cardinals did a couple of years ago. Remember when St. Louis got off to that 15-30 start, never recovered? Brewers cannot get off to a slow start. The one thing that concerns me is their offensive punch. How good is their offense? Speed, I love. I love their team speed. I love their defense. Love their bullpen. Can they stay healthy? We'll get to the bullpen coming up next. Chuck Freeman here. Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. Yeah, they owe it to the fans. The fans are the number one reason why this team is here. George Pitek had something to do with it. Bud Selig kept them here. But the fans, wasn't for the great fans, you guys, me, when I take my kid out there on Sunday afternoons, we would not have, there would not be baseball in Milwaukee. They owe it to the fans. So this the show is brought to you in part by Just Ingredients. I've been talking about Just Ingredients. Fueling your body, quality matters. I've been using Just Ingredients, fueling my body here in the off season, getting ready for golf season. Yeah, during the afternoon, I'll play a little golf before taking in a Brewer game and covering the game. Just Ingredients, changing the game with clean, high-quality products designed to support better health and peak performance. Just Ingredients offers NSF-certified line of protein powder, electrolytes, pre-workout, and creatine, all rigorously tested to ensure they're free from substances and banned by major athletic organizations. Just Ingredients partners with Bryce Harper, the two-time MVP. He trusts their NSF certified sports line to fuel his training and recovery. So, fueling performance, the pre-workouts, they deliver results, clean, transparent ingredients. Justingredients.us. Use the promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $20, 20%, I should say, off your purchase. And for more wellness tips, go to Instagram at just.ingredients, and they will tell you more. Chuck Freeman here on Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. Good to have you along. By the way, our podcast, you get it on Google, Spotify, Apple, wherever you download your podcast. We are certainly there for you. Google, Spotify, Apple, and of course our growing YouTube page as well. Locked On Brewers on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell. That alerts you every time we drop an episode here on Locked On Brewers. The bullpen, I love the bullpen. Love this bullpen. I'm going to go over a couple of guys in this bullpen. The back end, Megill is going to get first shot as a closer. He's been, if you've been watching the games, he hasn't been pitching. He's been working out with the minor league guys. They've been letting other guys pitch while he's getting his innings in minor league games. Although he did pitch on Monday in the spring training finale. He had not pitched since March 15th. But last year, 2.72 earned run average, 21 saves. Can he stay healthy, and can he be productive? Two big question marks with Megill. As long as he does, he's productive, he'll stay as the closer. So who's there in case Megill does not take the football and run with it? Uribe, last year, well, a lot of things went bad for Uribe last year. Spring training, though, an ERA near 7 hasn't been great for him in spring training. 5 innings pitched. But I think Uribe is going to have a solid year. That's the one guy I think in this bullpen is going to break out. I'm looking for Uribe to have a big year, and getting the ball over the plate is crucial with him. I love Uribe coming into the year. Piamps. Spring training. Had an okay spring training. Last year, though, 3.05 earned run average, 6 saves. I had high hopes for him last year. Still think he's an adequate bullpen guy. I felt better about his potential for being a closer 2 years ago than I did last year. So, but I still think he's a valuable part of this bullpen. Two guys who I think I'm really curious to watch. Number one is Koenig, ground ball pitcher. You know, a guy who pitched the most innings ever in his career last year. 31 years old, had a great record, 9-4. You know, he played some ball in New Zealand and all that, but he gets lefties out. Lefties bat 198 against him. Am I going to expect him, a guy who hasn't had a real great career until last year, to keep that going? Well, that's a little bit of a mystery. I like to think so, but he did a little bit of everything for the Brewers last year. Jared Koenig, 9-4. Bryan Hudson, again, another guy. Although with him, ran out of gas last year. Remember that toward the end of the season, he had an ERA of like 1 something. They would not use him in back-to-back games. He ran out of gas. He's done more cardio here in the offseason, trying to get himself in shape better. But he just, in a marathon, he sprinted and he ran out of gas. But we'll see too. Is Hudson, can he do what he did last year? Hudson and Koenig, both of those guys, by the All-Star break, pitched like All-Stars. We'll see. We'll count on those two guys. Mears is going to make he made a Monday start, a rehab start. He's been sick. He has not been feeling well. He's coming back for it. He's dropped 10 pounds. He's the guy they got from Colorado last year. 13 games with the Brewers last year. He had an ERA of 7. Brewers very high on Nick Mears, and he'll be joining the team really, really soon. Connor Thomas, as a 5th-round pick from the Cardinals a few years ago, Rule 5 pick of the Brewers, has spent most of his career. When he was with St. Louis, he spent most of that down at AAA, down at Memphis. But not a big strikeout pitcher, but Connor Thomas has made the team. We'll see how he helps these guys out. Elvis Peguero had a quiet 7-4, 2.98 earned run average. Now, when the eye test said it, wow, that's the kind of year that Peguero had last year, 7-4, an ERA of under 3. Well, that's because he gave up a lot of runs, inherited runs that were not charged to him. Pitched 51 innings. The record looks great. Did not pitch as well as the record would indicate. 7-4, 2.98 earned run average. Like I said, his inherited runners and allowing them to score, atrocious. So that's the bullpen right there. That's the way I see the bullpen shaping up. Megill, Uribe there to pick up some pieces, if Megill can't go or if Megill gets hurt, provided that Uribe throws the ball over the plate. Another $1 million question. Will we see Mizorowski this year? Well, he's got to harness that control as well. I thought Craig Yoho was going to make the team. And you know what? If Megill doesn't get the job done, they may call up Yoho because I think he's got closer stuff. We all saw the tape. If you didn't go to YouTube, anytime you see some, and I know sometimes YouTube, you only see the best of players sometimes, but check out his changeup. Yoho, that is a major league changeup. We come back. We'll wrap it up and talk about why the Brewers should try to extend the contract of Contreras. The Mariners did it with their catcher. We'll talk about that briefly when we check back in next here on Locked On Brewers. Locked On Brewers, part of Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook for a million different reasons. Plus, you got to like what they're doing right now. New customers get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. 200 extra bucks into your account. Use from anything you want. It's right there for you. I love the live betting on FanDuel. They make it really easy. You just, the live betting, man, you just watch the lines change quickly there. But they're so good. The payouts are great. The FanDuel app, easy to use. Again, when you win, you get paid instantly, and they'll add it to your account right away. But I love underdogs. NCAA tournament kicks back up Thursday. So after the Brewers game against the Yankees, 2:00 Central, just in time when that ends, it'll be time for the NCAA tournament and get on all the action because $200 in bonus bets comes your way when you win that first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com. Get in on all the college hoops action all tournament long. And, of course, you still have some NIT games going on right now, kind of like the appetizer before getting back into the NC2As, which start here in a couple of days. Chuck Freeman here on Locked On Brewers. Monarch Money. Speaking of money, ever check your bank account and wondering where all that money goes? Us here, it goes out to eating out a lot. We eat out a lot, and man, that money drains. It does. And with Monarch Money, that's your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Not just a budgeting app, it's complete financial command center where you can track all your accounts, all your investments, spending in all in one place. All in one place you check this here. Your one-stop shop for managing your money and start building wealth, because that's all ultimately what we want to do. We want to build wealth. We don't want to live paycheck to paycheck. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use the promo code LOCKEDONMLB, monarchmoney.com, 50% off your first year. Again, what they're going to do, they're going to show you where you're spending your money. You're spending too much online shopping, entertainment, going out to eat, like I said. Monarch Money is going to take you in that direction to help you find where your money's going to. monarchmoney.com. Use the promo code LOCKEDONMLB, and you're going to get half off your first year. It's going to help you save your money. It's going to help you manage your money and start building what's important to all of us, and that is building wealth. That is Monarch Money. Chuck Freeman here on Locked On Brewers. All right. Before we go, and I have the mailbag listed, but we don't have a chance to get to the mailbag. I'm going to get to the mailbag tomorrow. Cal Raleigh was signed by the Mariners, their catcher, 6 years, $105 million. Shouldn't the Milwaukee Brewers be in on this with Contreras? Now, Contreras was asked by the media last season, Will, are you open to an extension with this team? Didn't really want to talk about it. But the more Contreras puts up the numbers that he's putting, he's going to price himself right out of the ballpark. Right now, if you were to tell me I could buy out the next few years of Contreras and give him 6 years, $105 million, would do it in a second. I would do that in a second. Contreras, in a second, I'd give him 6 years, $130 million. I saw that Raleigh offer that Seattle gave him, and he signed it. 6 years, $105 million. 6 years, $130 million, Contreras, and we have a deal. Would he go for it? Financial security buys him out of arbitration. That's what Cal Raleigh did with Mariners. I'm sure this has crossed the Brewers' minds. They're trying to always think ahead on something like that. And I know 6 years, $105 million, it sounds like a lot of money, but you need to keep this guy. I think you do. You need to keep him. He is, like I said, they owe it to the fans to win some games and get into the postseason and win a postseason round. Long-term, keeping Will Contreras is one of those answers. A guy like that. Guy shows up spring training at 5:30 in the morning, spring training before the gates are open. That's the guy I want. A guy who goes to the manager on a Sunday afternoon and says, I want into the lineup. What you got? You don't have me in the lineup? I want in. That's the kind of guy I want on my team. Will Contreras. Let's get on that. Let's get that extension done. But maybe, again, Will might not be open to one. William Contreras. It's going to do it. Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. Thanks for making us your first listen. Google, Spotify, Apple, again, on all the major audio platforms. Locked On Brewers is there. And, of course, our growing YouTube page. Search Locked On Brewers. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell. That's going to alert you every time we drop an episode. And, again, thank you again for making us your first listen to every day here on Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Chuck Freeman. We'll talk to you tomorrow, everybody. And on the eve of the opener against the Brewers, against the Yankees, we'll talk about that weekend series coming up on tomorrow's episode. Have a good one, everybody.